There are two parts to this rant. One is going to seem like a petty argument, but I think it's justified. If nothing else, you should have a good time with it. If it's not been a documentary, I think this topic should be a documentary. It can be serious at times. It can be really quirky at times. It can be bizarre at times. I think it works as a documentary if it hasn't happened before. And I say that as I just came from a studio shooting, working on a documentary. But this, I'm happy this is now becoming mainstream. That's what I will say about this topic. There's that part of it. There's what seems to be the petty political, regional fight. And then there's the business side of the story that seems really obvious to me, but somehow here we are years later and it's not been so obvious. I suggest that you read the Atlantic story. Atlantic is the sports section of the New York Times, and the story is titled this. Now, don't tune it out right away. Don't think, well, man, I wasn't around back then, or I don't know that much about this team or the controversy. Don't do that. There's a lot to this. The story is titled, How Oilers Throwback Uniforms Stoked the Embers of a Decades-Long NFL Relocation Fight. I knew that it was a fight. I knew that there was still a lot of animosity, for good reason, I would say. I had no idea at some of this stuff. It's remarkable, and even if you want to call it petty, it's at the height of petty. So the setup is this. Let me give you like the quick history lesson. There are plenty of people from Houston, been around, know the story really well, but I'll give you a quick history lesson to set this up. The owner of the then Houston Oilers was fighting with the city over a new stadium. He wanted the taxpayers to build it. There was an argument about the lease. There was an argument about how this would work. The city was trying to work with the then owner by the name of Bud Adams, who was a piece of work. And even though the city offered a taxpayer setup of some kind, he bailed for what he thought was a better deal in Nashville. That's the Tennessee Titans now. For context, Bud Adams, the owner at the time, his daughter now runs the Titans, and she is part of this too. But he was not so secretly shopping the franchise to different cities where cities would be bidding against each other. Now, if you move that to present day, this stuff still happens. It does. Not to the extent that it used to, because the business at the NFL is so good, nobody's really getting out. But this is just as the NFL is really starting to become more popular. It's also at a time when ownership is becoming more lucrative. It was at a time when the NFL was really, really starting to blow up. And it's on its way to what we now know as, a year-round, 24/7 talking point, more popular than ever. Right, so there's the setup. This owner is shopping this team around to get the best deal he could from the taxpayers to build him a stadium. So Nashville bet on whatever deal he was offering, and he was gone. Was it a successful franchise, the Oilers? Okay. Was it a successful franchise on the field? And the answer is mostly no, but at times yes. That's not the real story with the Oilers. It's not. And anyone from Texas could attest. That's only a part of the story. How good they were is only a part of it. It doesn't work that way. It was, tell me if you disagree, it was an iconic franchise with an iconic history, an incredibly loyal fan base. The owner was iconic. They had an iconic coach. I mean, I try to tell my kids now, they see the style of coaches now in the NFL, just the obligatory shirt, or someone looks homeless like Bill Belichick. But at the time when Bud Adams owned the team and they were in Houston, Bum Phillips is the coach. The guy looks like he's going to the Austin Rodeo. It was just, there was these characters, and the Oilers had character. It was an iconic franchise with an iconic coach. It had iconic stars. And they played in an iconic goat ranch, the Astrodome. It just was the best way I can put it is that, by the way, there's no way the name and the colors of this iconic franchise with iconic color scheme with an iconic logo should have left the city. And I did say the colors, and it matters a lot. It matters a lot present day, and it's part of a giant fight present day. But at the time, the color scheme was cool. Everything about that franchise was just kind of cool. There was quirky and cool about the Oilers. And I would say it this way, see if some people disagree. They were the anti-Cowboys in every way. Just everything about them was anti-Cowboys. And that made them iconic, and it made them cool, and it made football work in this state. At a time, now nothing's iconic, nothing's different, nothing's quirky, nothing has any edge to it whatsoever. But that franchise had an edge. It was a mess in a very cool way. I'll tell you how quirky cool they were. The Oilers had the best, worst song arguably ever created, but somehow it just worked for them. Yes, you should crack up.
Look out, football, here we come. Houston Oilers, number one. Houston has the Oilers, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, always in control. And when you say the Oilers, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers, number one. Yes, we're the Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers, number one.
Was it a trombone and a tuba? Oh boy, we got a solo, I guess. Are there more words?
We got the offense, we got the defense, we give the other team no hope, 'cause we're the Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers, you know we're gonna hold the rope. Yes, we're the Houston Oilers.
Right?
Houston Oilers.
Hey, I know now it has no context now. Well, it has context for some people. I don't care, man. It's just everything about them was, I don't know, man. It was quirky. It just all worked. In a world of plastic, and that's where the media world we're in now. It's plastic, a bunch of suck-ups. There's no edge to anything. They had it. They did. They had it. Yeah, I know. You're not ever going to be able to unhear that song. That's okay. So the fight now, and the fight is taking so many weird turns. I can't believe this story of this franchise involves Vince Young. I didn't know this until last night or 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So would this happen now? In other words, an owner is shopping the team around, getting people to bid against each other. San Antonio used to be like, when in doubt, now you mention Austin. Okay, whenever the Buffalo Bills did this a couple of years ago, you mention Austin because Austin's a lucrative market. Everybody wants to be here, blah, blah, blah. So you just throw Austin out and the taxpayers freak out. But San Antonio used to be that too. So the owner is shopping the team around. Maybe he knew all along he was going to Nashville, whatever. So he's pissed because the city doesn't give him the deal that he wants and he bails. Okay, would it happen today? Probably not. No. One, nobody really wants to get out. And the markets are pretty set. The networks aren't going to let you move. I don't think this kind of story would happen today. And I think getting out of Houston would be impossible because the market is too big and too important. That's why a team ended up there. The colors and logo, if you haven't seen them, are super cool. And the owner of the Titans, now run by Bud Adams' daughter, purposely has the Titans wear the throwback uniforms when they play the Texans, when they play in Houston, which at the time, I remember the first time that came up, I thought, well, this is asinine. That's a jerk move. That's not cool. Now we're learning how petty this thing is. It's all done intentionally. So the Adams family is bitter. I know that's funny to say. Yes, the Adams family. They're bitter, and they act as if they were run out of Houston all those years back. Now, the reason why this is newsworthy is there is a fight over the logo. And I knew this was coming, and I knew the league would have to get involved eventually because the logo is too cool, too different, and could be a big seller. Now, the team, just so you understand merchandising the NFL has a completely separate business. This is how brilliant that business is. They have a completely separate business that is NFL merchandising. And so if it doesn't matter what logo sells the most, it doesn't matter what jersey sells the most because the money is split evenly. So, you know, if the Jets logo and color scheme sells, $50 million worth, that's $50 million that is split amongst all the teams, right? So the league has a vested interest in this side business that the more you sell, the better for everyone. Jerry Jones tried to disrupt that a few years ago and say, I want to own my own stuff. And the league said, no, forget that, old man. So that's a merchandising issue, which is a big business issue. But this family, the Adams family is mad, even to the point that let me read to you from The Athletic, okay? Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Okay, in 2006, the family, and now the daughter, is still blaming Houston, and so they're throwing that logo back in their face on purpose. And now it's turning into a bigger trademark fight, which I kind of like. In 2006, follow this, within weeks of the NFL draft, think about the timing of this. Okay, 2006, the draft of 2006. Who is and was the most iconic player of 2005? There was two of them. They finished 1 and 2 in the Heisman Trophy, and then even that got weird. Reggie Bush and Vince Young. Okay? So the number 3 overall pick, the Titans were going to select Jay Cutler, the Times reports, a quarterback, oddly enough, from Vanderbilt. Okay? Jeff Fisher was the coach at the time. He says the owner, then Bud Adams, instructed him to take Vince Young. Vince Young, for those that don't know, certainly had one of the most dominant, spectacular single seasons of any player at the position ever. He takes Texas to a championship. He takes Texas to a championship in a game that is one of the most iconic games ever played. You're going to watch a lot of football, and you're not going to see a person take over a game the way Vince Young could take over a game. His entire career was fairly short because he didn't really hit his stride until his last 2 years of his career with Texas. But that season that he took Texas to a championship is one of the most dominant individual seasons you'll ever see. That said, I didn't think he was a great pro prospect. I got a lot of blowback saying, I'm not quite sure the game you see in the Rose Bowl against USC, I'm not sure that translates to the NFL and people, you suck, I hate you, that kind of thing. So the Titans, bottom line is the Titans were not even going to draft him. They were going to pick someone else. And the owner of the Titans, who owned the Oilers, knew Vince Young was an absolute high school legend in Houston. Historically, the Houston area's had some of the best high school football anywhere, and this guy was a legend coming out of high school. He was a legend in high school. I saw him play in high school. So Bud Adams tells the head coach and general manager that he wants them to trade up and get Vince Young. They even say, this is reported now, they even say they heard Adams, wife at the time, advocating for the Texans to draft. Oh, yeah, this was the owner of the Texans at the time. His wife was advocating that the Texans get him. And guess what happens? Bud Adams tells his coaches to move up and draft Vince Young. They end up drafting Vince Young. And yes, is it in spite? Yeah, the intent was to in spite. So there's that part that I guess he just always, which is weird to me, always had it out for Houston. Then you get to, because there's nothing you can do. The Texans got a franchise. I mean, Houston got a franchise back. They got a Super Bowl back. There's that part. So the NFL threw them the bone they wanted. But then there's the fight over the colors and the logo. And the story in the Times says nobody really with the city of Houston really made an argument about the logo. No one ever thought in those terms. Never thought the logo would again be super cool again. And so the Adams family, said it again, took the logo and the color scheme with them and then throw it back in Houston's face every time they play them. So now they're fighting over the logo. Who should own it? This is stupid to me. It didn't make any sense the first time I heard this. So here you are, the NFL. For those that haven't seen the logo, it's this powder blue and red. It's just retro cool. And I got to believe it sells. But I've never understood why the league didn't step in and say, we can sell more of that in Houston than we can in Nashville. So why would we have this logo being owned by someone in Nashville for you to wear the throwback jerseys? Wouldn't it do better in Houston? So now there's a fight. One, the Texans are mad because they keep throwing it back in their face. Two, the league is not thrilled with the idea that they're throwing it back in their face. And then Jeff is sitting here saying, why don't you jump in the middle of it and say, we would like to give that logo to them. Let them sell more stuff in Houston. That's never made any sense to me. Why the league didn't have the ability to step in and say, listen, Titans, first of all, their logo sucks. The Titans uniform and the logo is one of the worst, I think. I'm not saying they've been historically, I mean, they were a good team a long time ago. Not now, obviously, they're terrible. But it's a terrible logo, terrible look. But the Oilers thing shouldn't be theirs, and it shouldn't be in Tennessee. And the league should step in and say, we own this, everybody splits the money, so we're going to take that, let you go back and sell the most you can in Houston. Now, I don't know if they've done that yet. I don't know if they'd even try, but I'm willing to bet money that if you had that logo and you had that color scheme and you because the University of Houston does it, they wear the throwback uniforms. In fact, the league came down on them for wearing the throwback Oiler uniforms. It's weird. The league should just step in. I've been saying this for 2 years. And now that they're fighting, they should really step in. Give it back over to Houston. Let them sell the heck out of it. I don't care if the daughter of the owner is pissed off. Who cares? It's insane that they would even have it and wear it to begin with. So bottom line is this fight that I've been complaining about and pointing fingers at all this time is now brewing again. And if you have the time, it's a long, long story about the fight, about the bitterness between the ownership group of the Titans to the city of Houston. And the bottom line is to the point that they're throwing that logo back in their face. The NFL should take it over. I don't know how many more it would sell. I don't know. It just seems like it fits better, right? Seems like it would sell more. All right, there you go. Oh, you want the song. Okay, that's it. That's all you really want out of that entire rant. The only thing you want is, Jeff, please play that song again. It makes me happy.
Yes, we're the Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers #1. 'Cause we're the Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers #1. 5, 7, 8.
Oh.
We're the best from the Lone Star State.
Look at that.
Houston
How about that?
Oilers. Houston Oilers #1. 'Cause we're the Houston Oilers.
Telling you, I know. Jeff, that song sucks. It's torture. You don't get it. It just fits, man. It's so bad it's good. The Dome was so bad it's cool. The team was so quirky and weird it was even cooler. The best like marketing positioning statement I can give you about the Oilers is in every way they were the anti-Cowboys. In the heyday of the Cowboys, all those years, Dallas was dominant. Dallas was really good. They still felt plastic. They still felt like big hair Dallas. But the Oilers, no, they were the opposite. They were quirky, cool, and kind of funky, as opposed to the Cowboys being corporate.